Everybody, welcome to another episode of the True Story News Podcast, and I'm going to talk about a few things. First and foremost, I want to talk about my niece's situation. I hit her up, but she's almost as busy as I am. I want to make sure that it's not too late to donate to her her situation. I still have to do that myself, but I've not been home. I've been working, traveling, running, hotel room. I've been really just grinding. But her situation, before I talk about Kanye, her situation is a serious one. What happened? She was one of the medical workers. She's a nurse who refused to get poisoned when, employers were forcing people to do it. She said no. So what happened was they changed. First of all, she was hired to do a nursing position. Never was there any discussion of this inoculation. All of a sudden, what happened. This thing broke out, and then they just immediately started to force people to take this EUA concoction that hadn't gone through the proper phases of testing, was not FDA approved. It was an emergency drug that should never have been mandated. We know that. I'm reiterating what we all already know for 3 years now. Like, this should not have happened. Long story short, they forced the employees, and those who held out, they're trying to punish, and they're trying to punish my niece and forcing her to go to court. And because she refused to take their poison at gunpoint, they fired her and then sued her for not complying with her contract, even though this jab had nothing to do with her employing, or had nothing to do with her getting hired. They forced this on people after they were already contractually signed and working. So they're kind of just beating people up and trying to bully people and sue people for the principle. Well, they're forcing her to go to court they're suing her for, $9,000, $10,000. I would just give it to her. If I weren't in 3 different courts myself. So yeah, I'm under the gun. It's kind of my personal business, but yeah, I got a lot of things going on. Since sometimes before you make out, sue successfully, you gotta spend. So I would just give it to her, but, cause I was angry, and, it's a very frustrating situation, but, I can't. And so, a while ago, it became obvious, a no-brainer, that the best way to go would be crowdfunding. So I'm going to leave that link. It's for a great cause, if not only for my niece. People in this position need to be supported because they made the right decision within their integrity. Respecting their own autonomy and, their human rights. And we had all the brainwashed masses and normies running around hating their own rights. You don't have rights. We don't have rights. Take the medicine. The government said, people were so brain dead. It was very frustrating. But for those of us who held the line, they're trying to punish, fortunately, I was not in that position because I kind of broke away from, the 9-to-5 hustle a long time ago. And so I didn't have that. That's why I tried not to sound too, judgmental, because I was not in the position a lot of people were in. So if you took the thing under duress or for fear of losing your job, it was the wrong decision. but I'm not judging you. I'm not here to judge anybody. It's just, I understand, the position that you were put in, and I was not in that position, so I cannot judge anybody. So my heart goes out to the people who did it. And there's a lot of people, one of my cousins too, like my heart goes out to him. He tells me all the time, I regretted it. And he explains to me that, like, you know, he has kids and, you know, they put this thing on your lap, you know, you're going to get fired. So a lot of people, what are they going to do? Their livelihood. I've been working in this industry for this job for 20 years or this branch of military or whatever it is your situation is, and you've been working for, you know, years, decades, and you got 6 years to retirement, making a scenario up, and then they hit you with this, like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? So yeah, it's a bad situation, but my niece, she held out, stood in her integrity, and found other employment as a traveling nurse, doing just fine. But this situation is trying to come after her in court and trying to drain our energy. Those of us who, you know, have light in us, that we're not going to put it out for anyone or anything. And we're going to stand in our, you know, in our power at all times. You will not make me do a damn thing. There is no forcing me to do anything. This is my timeline. I came here. I do what I want to do. And there's no entity, there's no politician, there's no celebrity that's going to convince me to do anything. Yeah, so moving along. I'm going to leave that link there. Please, if you find it in your heart to donate to my niece's cause, $5, $10, $20, please donate. Like I said, I have, you know, a bunch of crises going on right now. And, my Lord, I have a bunch of people are trying to call me while I'm recording all the time. A bunch of crises going on. So, like, you know, this crowdfunding is great. So the more people that can, you know, help out by giving a little, it does a lot. And it means a lot. I'm sure it would mean a lot to her to see people she doesn't know supporting. So, please, I've never asked for anything for myself, but this is a good cause. Even if you don't know the person. So let's talk about Kanye. A lot of people have been hitting me up about Kanye. And, I have a thing with my cousins. We talk we try to talk every week. We fell off a little bit. And, the last few times I didn't jump on, there was a miscommunication. I think the very last time I was the one that was like, hey, where are you? And, I didn't log on. Miscommunication. But, because I hadn't been on, one of my cousins just hit me up because they had to hear what I had to say about Kanye. And another, you know, people were just calling me because they wanted to hear what I had to say about Kanye. Like, well, what about Kanye? What about Kanye? And so I'm going to talk about Kanye on my main channel with a more broad, you know, I'm going to talk in depth on the main channel. But here I'm going to do a little quick run through about my thoughts on Kanye. Overall, I support him through this, and I need you to hear why. Kanye says some dumb things. He says some really stupid things, lots of them. But in addition to that, you don't write people off because, you know, this is what the media tries to do. Tries to make you think that people are crazy and you just got to cancel them. No, Kanye also drops a lot of truth. A lot of truth. And he speaks it. And, you know, sometimes you got to take it to things with a grain of salt. He says every now and then he says something really stupid because he doesn't read. He'll tell you that himself. He doesn't have his own thoughts. He gets his ideas from people that resonate with him. And he listens to people, and someone who resonates with him, he runs with it. And he has his own mind, but if, you know, whoever he's around is making sense, he adopts that ideology. Unfortunately, for the time, it happens to be Candace Owens, and I'll get into that in a minute. But, you know, he drops a lot of truth. And, so first, let me get the dumb things out of the way before I support Kanye West, because I do support Kanye West. Despite what the psychotic, demonic psychopaths are trying to do. Slavery was a choice. When Kanye said that, I believe he had a greater point he was trying to make, a different kind of message he wanted to say. He didn't fully explain himself, but slavery was not a choice. In order to say something so stupid, so idiotic and ignorant, and Nathan the black guy from TMZ, ripped him one epically. It was like no one could have said it better, actually. It was an epic verbal beatdown. And he should have learned. He flies off the cuff. I think I know what he meant, because slavery is a choice in the modern sense. There's a lot of people mentally enslaved in different ways, shapes, and forms, but he didn't say that. He said it in a way that people would assume you meant slavery, and it was a choice, and you didn't unpack that. It's like you got to explain. So it caused a ripple. It ripped through society. People were very angry with him, because in order to say something that stupid, you would have to be an ignorant person that doesn't know history. Slavery was hundreds and hundreds of years of demonic trickery. Religion. They brought colonialism. They brought all these different tricks. They brought the gun, brute force, stealing people. They came in through so many different evil ways to steal people, to bribe African leaders that didn't really have the same concept of slavery. They didn't know what, the West version of slavery was and how racialized it was. They didn't know. And so they preyed upon these people. And that's revisionism. There wasn't a lot of African tribes that sold their own people. This revisionism is trying to mainstream that as like, that was the main, no. Gotta watch these psychotic demons. They're always trying to rewrite history. But there was some African tribes that sold their own people. They didn't really understand the European concept of slavery and what it really meant generations in the future. And no, these people did not choose slavery. And there were, famous words of people who broke slaves that would tell you straight up, slaves are not born, they're made. You know how much conditioning that was done? When people were captured, they were jumping off ships. They were revolting on the ships. They were trying to escape. They were beaten. They had limbs chopped off. They had to be conditioned for slavery. So now when you get generations in, you don't have the original African man. You have the American-born slave, and some of them were conditioned for slavery. And there's a psychological component to that it's, some say the Willie Lynch, that's myth. I don't think it is. It came from somewhere. But there's a psychology to breaking the slave and making the slave. And some people were conditioned for slavery psychologically. And so for some people, and I think they depicted that in like movies like 12 as a Slave, where the guy was captured and he was talking to this guy, this other black man that was captured, about escaping. And then when his master showed up, he just goes running and hugs the master like, yay. That's a broken man, an American-born slave, made slave. So when you say something like slavery was a choice, you have to eliminate several hundred years of history and conditioning to say something so unfair, so uneducated, so dumb, so insulting, so bereft of intellect. It was just a really irresponsible thing to say about such a touchy thing. There were people who were conditioned for slavery, but to say slavery was a choice, it's like, there's a history to that mindset. That wasn't the original man. It wasn't in that original first generation slave. So you can't say things reckless like that, not understanding. And I don't think Kanye sometimes understands how he can affect people negatively with his celebrity by saying something so idiotic and not knowing that it's idiotic. He's hearing these things from white supremacist alt-right groups. They say dumb things all the time. That's what they do. They lie. They believe lies. The system is a lie. Everything about the system is a lie. We had to whitewash a history that was barbaric. You know, this land was not, you had to murder all the inhabitants. We had to slaughter the inhabitants while simultaneously enslaving another group of people. And then we write these history books and we just try to like whitewash this kind of history. Like, how do you do it? And so we believe nonsense. You know, this dominant society, has to create true lies, but I digress. So yeah, slavery was a choice. It was not a good thing to say. The other spectacle, standing with Candace Owens, goofy in a White Life Matter shirt. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes he's a real goof. That wasn't a good look. It wasn't, the optics were not good. Now, is there truth to some of the things that Candace said? There's a lot of truth to a lot of the things Candace Owens says. And, she's on fire when she talks about certain things, but you got to understand who and what she is. At the end of the day, she's a bootlicking coon, nothing more, nothing less, who works for the establishment, and she will always protect the police. She will never condemn police brutality when they slaughter, when they, Sandra Bland, when they kick in no-knock warrants and murder people, when they do she will never say a mumbling word about condemning any of that. She's ghost. She's quiet, but she's there to protect the system, and she's there to rationalize evil. And people lie to themselves because people don't want to outwardly believe they work for evil when they work for demonic forces. They just don't want to see it that way, but she does. But there's a code. There's a way to be popular in today's realm. And the truth is the worm on the fish hook. A lot of what you say has to be true. And she makes sure that that's true. Like, her attacks on the left are blistering and spot on. Matt Walsh, Ben Shapiro, I listen to all these people and they're spot on. When they get into racial stuff, I know when, that's my stop. I'm going to get off here. People have they love me so much. There's a lot of people, my friends, but they try to get me to go all the way full blown conservative, and this is just not going to happen. I'm not dumb enough. That's insulting. That's very insulting. I didn't mean that. I mean, a lot of people just don't know how to break programs, and they don't know how to be free. They don't know how to be a liberated thinker, unattached to groups, church groups, political groups, race. Like, they just emotionally attached to these things that control their mind. And you're going to be right about so many things, but morally wrong about a lot of things because you're believing a think tank. You're believing a group that has an agenda attached to it, because people who run this group, people who spearhead this group, weave in their agendas, alt-right agendas and ideology, and it's evil. It comes from evil, low vibrational evil, and I cannot accept that into my essence, into my being. Something that I know is not right, something that I know is of a lower frequency, something that I know is evil, something that I know is racist, something that I know is not what my higher self would approve of. And I'm not going to lower my vibration to adopt these ideologies at all. No matter how convincing it sounds, no matter how, because it sounds convincing, because people don't know how to separate the truth. There's a lot of people who come at you and they talk the truth, but then they get you with their little agenda and people are still clapping and drooling. They don't know how to catch that moment where you go, okay, I don't support this. Candace Owens is full of those moments. You know, she said the most oppressed group is not African Americans. It's not, you know, immigrants. It's not, she said it's the cops. Person's a sick mind, you know, she, you know, very diseased mind, and I'm not going to follow her. So all my friends out there, don't try to convince me to just, no. Yeah. So Kanye, back to Kanye. So yeah, now that that's out of the way, the stuff that he says that is true, that he should be supported on, is his right to speak. They're trying to cancel people. You can't cancel people, first of all. What is that? You see, the demonic psychopaths try to get you to do their bidding and to think like them. Like, oh, we said he's bad. He said these bad things, so we cancel him. And Stephen Colbert and all the celebrities, they abandoned. These people are not the good guys. All these people canceling Kanye and going public to say, oh, I denounce Kanye, they're not the good guys. They're the masses of non-thinking lunatics. And they're dangerous. And they're depicted throughout history, in real history, like the Salem witch trials. Do you think that that is so far off? No, these people have no brain. And the establishment puts the information in these empty-head people that just, so they're emotionally riled up. And hey, you can get people to believe whatever. You know, they believed these people were witches, and they believed in their mind they were the good fighting the evil. We got to burn them. And they watched people burn alive. These people canceling people, they're no different. They have no mind. You know, they don't think. They don't know how to reason. They don't know how to say, okay, not everybody's, you're not going to agree with everything that I say. You're not going to agree with everybody. People have opinions, but you don't cancel them. It's like, you don't cancel people, you know, and when in terms of New Earth, you know, people have even tried to do that to me, like block people. Like, what is that? You know, people are human beings. We're flawed. We're going to make mistakes. And I noticed that a lot of people that do stuff like that, they're prone to blocking. Like, they don't have what I have. I have a loving family of, you know, my first friends, my cousins, my brothers, sister, my family. They've known me since I was a baby. They're never going to block me on Facebook. They're never going to cancel me. What is that? Who does that? And toxic minded people have these cycles that they have to break, you know, carrying these things that the world teaches us, that when we're high vibrational people, we don't act like that. We don't do those things. You know, it's not nice. It's not, sounds really corny, but it's not nice. You don't block people. Like, what the hell is that? On an app. People are ridiculous. And it's so hurtful to do that. So that the person sees, oh, I'm blocked. People are insane. Oh, and I have friends for years that they're gonna block me. You don't cancel people. So this culture that's normalizing psychotic behavior of canceling Kanye because he said some things that we don't like. The anti-Semitism, let me get to that. He didn't really say anything anti-Semitic. You know, it's just the empty term that they're bulldozing, and they're lying now. They're saying he loved Hitler, and the media tells people anything, and the masses believe whatever you tell these people. They have no thinking apparatus. They have no cognitive ability to reason. They just believe what's printed and they run with it. And there's people online, they're saying that they take it and they add a little salt and pepper. They're saying that, oh, he advocated killing the Jews. They're lying now. These people are lunatics. They are not the good guys. This cancel culture people, they're not the good guys. They are the insane mob of lunatics, non-thinking morons that are extremely dangerous. Kanye is such a force of nature. And I relate to him in a lot of different ways because he's an artist, and people have done that to me in a smaller scale where we have weird eccentricities. Kanye is so human. He's one of the most human people out there today. And that's what they're persecuting him for. We don't like people being real. That's our problem. You know how many racist dads people have that say the most disgusting things, but they're so damn fake. They can never say it in front of civilized people because they'd be embarrassed of their ridiculous selves and their regressive, low vibrational thinking. They're like human animals. They have skin and human looks, but they think like a savage, disgusting racist. And they're in your families all over the place, and they don't say these comments in public, but that's who they are. They're just inauthentic with who they are because they can't stand like a man and say it in front of people. Some can because they're dumb. But people who are a little bit more cultured, they know that, okay, this is not, I don't want people to think this of me, but this is my real thoughts. Kanye is speaking his mind, and we condemn that. We condemn that because we don't want that for ourselves. People are condemning. And when you do things to people, you do it to yourself. When you block people, you block yourself. When you do things and you try to say, yeah, that's the bad guy, what are you really saying about yourself? Like the woman who's on, I wanted to use her screenshot. There's a woman on Facebook. She was lying, saying that Kanye, was advocating killing the Jews. She's a damn liar on you. And she's pointing the finger at Kanye. Kanye's the bad guy because he had everything to lose. And he said what he wanted to say. He said his thoughts. I don't agree with everything he said, but so what? I'm a grown man. His views didn't hurt me. And I had a friend who called me pretty upset because he's a Jewish guy and a hip hop enthusiast. Loves Kanye, grew up with Kanye. And he's like, yo, I gotta talk to you. What's going on? He's like, I know something about this Kanye thing is very, very weird. It just doesn't sit right with me, he says. And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, I know also that Kanye's not racist. I've been a Kanye fan for my life. College, the memories is like, you know, Kanye, he's not racist. They're just trying to make you think overnight he's this raving racist. It's not, something's wrong with this. So yeah. Like Kanye says things that, he says things. And I think he had a point. And it was a factual point that they're just not ready to hear. But I think his presentation was a little bit more alarming than it needed to be. He said things that were very triggering. Like he said, and I don't know why he presented it like this, I'm going to go DEFCON 3 on Jewish people. Now, when you say that, no matter what the hell you say next, it's just not going to be received well. You set yourself up for, the dragging that was to come. But he actually also exposed the system for what it is. And they're doing exactly what he said they were going to do. He said stuff about slavery. Nobody said anything. He went goofing around with the White Lives Matter thing. Nobody said anything. The minute he says this thing about the Jews, they label him an anti-Semite. And they go to these ridiculous men. They make him change his bank. All the companies cut ties with him. They're kicking him out of places. This is not good. And I don't want anyone to think for 1 second that the people that are doing this are the good guys, because they're not. They're satanic. They're the satanic vibe people who are trying to normalize this kind of cancellation. Don't tether your energy to the psychotic psychopaths that are convincing you that this is ethically the thing to do, and it's not. Kanye is a human being, and you don't throw people out. You can disagree, you can have opinions, and this is not the way to handle disagreements. This is not the way to handle public discourse, by shutting people's mic off and throwing them in the what are those things? The medieval things. There's a lot of interesting tools that these same people brought us in medieval times. I forget what it's called, but yeah, they want to tar and feather, and this is not normal. These are not the good guys. So don't think for 1 second. You have Howard Stern, who's showing what a demonic old gremlin, senile gremlin he's turned into, like saying all these hateful things and encouraging the hate and the dragging. And I don't know why everybody's so butthurt about disagreements. You know how many things they say about black people all the time in Asia, Chinese countries, the blackface spectacles is stuff that black people have to put up with that is just normal for us to just deal with. And these people, you say a little blurb, he says, oh, kick him out of the bank. You can't bank. You can't live. You can't work. You can't, we've X'd you out of life. And to show you how sick and psychotic these people are, any attachment to Kanye, by any means necessary, they're punishing their children that are part of his Donda high school basketball team. They cut it because it's loosely associated with Kanye. And you think that these people are the good guys. Let me tell you again, these canceling lunatics, don't tether yourself with these people. It's like, you know, there's a scene in George Orwell where they're watching the Big Brother screen and, you know, the guy, you know, a dynamic speaker who represents the establishment can say, you know, this can show you a picture and the people can be like, yay, show you a picture of the bad guy. Boo. That's what society is turning into. These mindless drones of non-thinking entities that don't know how to think, don't know how to reason, don't know how to respect opinions, differing opinions, have disagreements, there's some people who have some views, but if you don't converse with them, you don't how do you know you're right? How do you know he's wrong? Like, how do you shut people down? So in that respect, I support Kanye, and I think we all should, because he's us. And we lose that. We don't understand that. He is I, and I am him. And I see myself in him. I see myself in a lot of people. I see myself in a lot of people who did effed up things to me. And I love them. And it hurts me, but I see myself in their pain and or the thing that I did to them that made them have that reaction. It's a shame that they had a low vibrational reaction, but I caught that. I caught what I did. I'm not an angel, but I caught the reaction and I've learned. And it's just a shame that I'm like, man, I don't judge because they're going to pay for that. It's like the more high vibrational you get, you see karma. It's like you don't have to, when people do things to you and you didn't really deserve it, they really did it to themselves and it comes back. And that's why you don't have vengeful, you don't get angry. It's just like, wow, we could have resolved that so much better. But it's a shame that this is our stop, you know. Send you off for love. But we have a job to do, which is to evolve and be the best versions of ourselves and break our cycles, break our low vibe reactions. And we have higher connections with people on a higher vibrational frequency. And we free ourselves when we do that. And when we learn to live in a love vibration, and then, you know, you can fall in love. You're freer and you're more open when you're not judgy and condemning, finger pointy, stuck in your own head and your mind and your own projections and the things that you create and we do that to kind of ease the pain. It's easier to villainize someone that hurt you because it helps to process it better than to realize this is a good person. He's on his own journey and he's free to do this, but it hurt me, but I want to make him a villain because it's easier to process. But, anyway, with the Kanye thing, that's pretty much what I want to say. I'm being interrupted. I never get a break. Work people, they just don't want me to make videos. I don't know. I had like 20 minutes of silence, turned on the camera, like 5 people calling me like, yeah, man. But we want to live in a spirit of love and society. We want to bring society up from these psychotic psychopaths, misleading the people, teaching people to tar and feather. That's why I defended Bill Cosby. That's why I defend R. Kelly. Who are you to judge these people, even if what they did was true? Not Bill Cosby, not Michael Jackson, R. Kelly. Who are you to judge these people? They have God in them, and we are them. You ever hear R. Kelly's music and you ever hear him do something like, how dare you think that, these people they have the authority to point the finger, even if some of the things he did, which was true. Like, who are you? Go sit down. Tired of these people anointing themselves with some kind of, authority to judge and condemn. You don't know someone else's path. You don't know someone else's struggles. And I'm not justifying crime, but I just try, and I try to the best of my ability to, make myself an ear for real victims and to not commit crimes myself. I live on a vibration where, I am concerned with myself as a man, being a good man and not committing atrocities, not, victimizing anybody, women, but we also have to learn that some people are on a different journey and they're going to make mistakes. We're not perfect. We don't look for perfection in people. And I'm meeting actually beautiful people who get that. And somebody said something to me that I met recently. Actually, two people did in the same week. That's why I have to share the download in different ways. One person is a very high vibrational, spiritual person, mystic. Another person is a friend for a long time. That's just a good dude. And he said, I just see the good people. This is actually the guy that was talking about Kanye. I see the good in people. I don't see the negative. And so maybe that's what makes me a fool. I'm like, no, that doesn't make you a fool to think that way. That's what you would want people to think of you. Like, I got treated like that when people get together and they just want to talk about all the bad things that you've done in a short period of time and then hold court without you even being in on the conversation and judge you. That happened. It's not good. It doesn't feel good. And it's wrong. Your spirit knows it's wrong. And I think I needed to go through that because it helps me speak about these things because I know how wrong it is. And it has no place in New Earth, this kind of, low vibe behavior that is not in the love vibration. People deserve better. You deserve better. Treat people like how you would want to be treated. If you were Drew, like, hey, now that I think about it, it wasn't that big a deal what he did. Like you realize how your mind turns around when you love. You choose love and not low vibrational stuff and anger and selfishness and narcissism and jealousy and, you get triggered and angry at people. It's just not a good vibe to fall into. It's not a good frequency to fall into. There's so much, it's so much better in the higher frequencies and the love frequencies. And you get it back when, you see people. And there's people who've treated me bad, but had unconditional love, like seemed foolish, but I didn't judge. I didn't see the negative. Because I know the better person, like maybe eventually this person will snap out of it and actually start to see me and not the projections of me, and it could have happened, it could happen when people, after making mistakes and repeating cycles over and over again, sometimes they catch themselves and they realize, wow, this person taught me this cycle that I'm on. I keep abusing this person. I'm going to stop. And they level up. So yeah, guys, that's all I'm going to say. There's a lot of stuff I want to talk about with the Kanye things. I can talk about this forever, but I'm being chased down once again. People are calling with their issues and people are trying to GPS me right now. But yeah, that's my thoughts on Kanye for now. I'm going to do a bigger presentation on the main channel, but we have to live in the love vibration and stop this tar and feathering. And sometimes, yes, he's going to say things that are not good. The anti-Semitism thing, they're stretching that and they're starting to lie. So stop feeding yourself their lies. He didn't, have a montage to Hitler. They're saying all sorts of crazy things, and the normies are running with it, and they're canceling it. They're going to do this to activists. I hope you know. They're going to do this to people. They're going to do this to heroes. The same apparatus that they're using, they're going to use to do their will. And they know that they have people under control. People who go off the cuff, people who are that powerful and like Kanye, and he's so human, he's so real. They want to call him crazy. Why is he crazy? He's just human. He's just human, and he's just himself. Kanye is Kanye. And we can't stand it because most of these people around us, they're so damn fake and timid. He'll get up and grab the mic. Damn right. That's why he is who he is. That's why he's such a force in this world, because you can't put his light out. So don't point a finger at someone who's greater than all these little clowns on the internet. He's bad. Just shut up. Let me not get I have a shadow that comes out every now and then that I suppress and just gotta But yeah, don't judge. Get out of that spirit and don't follow these idiots. They just run with the media, and let's stop canceling. There's some people who are on a lower frequency that we need to distance ourselves from respectfully. But this canceling, and you can't come in the bank, and you can't, these are fools, low vibrational psychopaths, fools. Don't run with them. Let them do what they think. They're third dimensional. They're not even real. Don't follow them. Anyway, guys, I gotta run. I'll be back, and I'll be talking about a different issue when I get back to my home. I'm in my basement in New York. I'm going back. I'm all over the place. But guys, let's live in love, and I'll talk to you soon. See you in the next one, guys. Take care.